Hi everyone, I'm Emily. Welcome back to my channel, That Carnivore Life. As you can see by the title of today's vlog, I'm going to be talking about depression, anxiety, and carnivore. I'm sure if you are returning to my channel, you have probably noticed my very fresh looking, unmade up face and the fact that my hair is also tied up and not down. There's a couple of very good reasons why you're noticing this. One, well, I always have makeup on when I do these, and two, my hair is always down when I do these. But why is my hair up? Well, it's pretty manky and I'm going to the hairdresser tomorrow. My face, well, it is currently 20 to 9 p.m. on Friday night, and usually I have uploaded these videos to YouTube right now and it's ready to launch for 8 a.m. Saturday, but I have been dragging my feet. Well, actually, that's not entirely true. I have been battling some of that depression and anxiety and didn't get my act together. So this video is the result of dealing with depression and anxiety this week. And honestly, I probably could have spent 10 minutes throwing on some makeup right now to do this short video to then take it off and go to bed. But I thought I instead would show you real life, because if you're watching this, the chances that you've dealt with some form of negative mental health and you're looking for a way to improve your mental health, the chances of that are high. And I want you to see what life is really like so it's relatable for you and how carnivore is helping me. Just a few things before I jump into the video today. Please, if you haven't yet, subscribe to my channel. Select the bell notification so you're notified of each time I upload, which is usually once a week. And also like this video. Today's vlog, as I have been dealing with, as mentioned, some depression and anxiety this week, I don't have any links of sources of any of the information that I have shared. I'm sorry. Yes, I could take time to research and go and find them and link them below, but honestly, I just don't have the capacity right now to do that. But I'm also asking you, regardless of whether I have links or I don't have links, I'm asking you to do the research for yourselves and don't just take my word for it. Use your critical thinking. Find the sources in articles. Don't just take an article's word for it. Don't just take a YouTuber's word for it, but find the source and do your own research, because ultimately it is that that's going to help you with longevity, as opposed to just listening to someone or reading something and taking it at face value. If we're going to talk about depression, anxiety, and carnivore, we also need to talk about sugar. Sugar is more addictive than cocaine. Don't believe me? Look it up. There are studies that have been done that can actually, they use, I guess it's an MRI, I could have that piece of technology wrong, and they can see the physiological, I think that's the right word, response in the brain when somebody eats sugar and when somebody takes cocaine. And sugar is more addictive and has a, like by a long shot, a greater influence on the brain than taking cocaine does. So that tells you something. Also, carbs are sugar. Yes, they have a different name. They are sugar. If you're eating carbs, you're consuming sugar. If you're eating a sugar-free carb, you're consuming sugar. If you are eating a carb that has no sugar-free in it and no sugar in it, you're eating sugar. So carb, sugar, 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 carb, sugar. It's sugar. I'm sure you've probably heard people say, I'm not addicted to sugar. I'm sorry. Yeah, right. So you need to have that bread, do you? You need to have the sandwich. You need to have the wrap. You need to have the donut. Or maybe you don't need to have it. You just want a donut. And you want that can of Diet Dr. Pepper, or you want the can of Coke or whatever. That's sugar. If you're thinking about it and you're super tempted, if you have to have it, if you can't go by without it, if you really, really love it and you just want to enjoy it, that's an addiction to sugar. Yep. Oh, and if you don't believe me, stop consuming carbs and sugar for 30 days and check out the withdrawals that you experience. Have you heard of the Keto Flu? It's actually withdrawals. Keto Flu is just a fancy name. But again, I just want to remind you to use your critical thinking and do your own research. I listened to a YouTube video recently by Callie Hogan. She was interviewing a doctor. I don't remember the doctor's name. I thought I had saved it in my YouTube save videos. I haven't. I don't have the capacity to do any more research than that right now, so you need to go find it for yourselves. So this YouTube video I watched from Callie Hogan interviewing this doctor. This doctor is a psychologist or psychiatrist. I think it's a psychiatrist. And she was talking about just the detrimental effects of sugar on the brain and how it affects mental health. And in her clinic, when she has clients come in that are dealing with negative mental health, she puts them on essentially a carnivore diet or very close to a carnivore diet. You might have heard of Ketovore, something very similar. She calls it something else. There's a few other bits and pieces in it. It's not strict carnivore. And she sees a massive improvement in the mental health of her patients. And she's been doing this for many, many years now. And that was a really interesting YouTube interview to watch. And I would recommend that you find it. When I find it again, I'll edit my below comments and I'll place the link in there so you can find it more easily. Apologies, but that's where my head's been this week. So I just want to clarify, this doctor that Callie Hogan interviewed, she talked about the fact that eating sugar, so consuming sugar and carbs, that it actually feeds negative mental health. It feeds depression and it feeds anxiety and it makes them worse. So if you want to help yourself out and you deal with depression and anxiety, quit the sugar. That also means quit the carbs. If you're someone who's dealt with negative mental health, I'm sure you're aware of sort of that hamster in the wheel cycle. You feel negative mentally health speaking. So you feel more negative and more negative and more negative and more negative and more negative. Yet, if you've had moments of reprieve where you feel really good mentally health speaking, you'll notice that you continue to feel really good. So let me talk about carnivore for a moment, because if you're feeling really good and you can keep going because you're not weighed down by negative mental health, you do keep going. So you continue to feel good because you're able to keep going. So if you quit sugar and you quit carbs, or perhaps you go carnivore, if you can get through that first week, you'll notice an improvement in your mental health. If you can then get through 2 weeks and you can then get through 30 days and then 6 weeks and 60 days and then 100 days. So the longer you can get through, the better your mental health is going to be. And that pushes you to keep going. It motivates you to keep going because you see such an improvement in your mental health. So I'm going to encourage you, quit the sugar, quit the carbs, go to carnivore, get through the 7 days, get through the 14 days, get through the 30 days, get through the 6 weeks and keep going. Because if you could just get that little bit in and see the improvement, it motivates you to keep going. And then you get a month in and it motivates you to keep going. And 2 months and it motivates you to keep going. And you just see such an improvement in your mental health. I'm not just saying this because I'm seeing an improvement in my mental health. I'm saying this because I have come across countless people, men and women of all different ages, who have gone to carnivore and their mental health, they're saying like they're off medication, their depression, anxiety is gone, like their CPTSD is manageable. It's actually quite encouraging. And for me, I'm new to being back on carnivore, new to dealing with some depression and anxiety, and I have seen a vast improvement in my mental health since going carnivore again. I was 30 days strict carnivore when we got to the 26th of December, but I did have a couple of non-carnivore things on the 24th and the 25th, the 26th and 27th, and then again on the 30th of the 31st of December, and a couple of times since then, in fact this morning as well. And I have noticed that my mental health that was improving, the improvements I'd noticed, they've started to drop away again. So I got home this evening and I had a big steak with some butter. I'm using this weekend to just re-kick my butt back into gear, and I'm going to be really kind to myself. So I'm not fasting, I'm not beating myself up at the gym, I'm just going to eat animal. I'm going to make sure I'm eating enough so I'm not going hungry, because when you're hungry you want to snack, you want to go to sugar, you want to go to carbs. I'm just going to make sure I'm eating enough protein and eating enough fat and drinking water and keeping my salt intake up for electrolytes, and just get my butt back into it so I can start off my weekend and then my week really, really well. I want to share a few thoughts with you that relate to mental health and relate to carnivore. The only way out is through. I'm not going to sugarcoat this, as we've discussed, sugar's bad. But I am going to say you can't go over it. You can't go under it. You can't go around it. You have to walk through it. There is no easy way to cut out sugar and cut out carbs. There's no easy way to go carnivore. There's no easy way to fix depression and anxiety. You need to walk through it. So I just want to encourage you that if you can walk through it, you are going to see an improvement in your mental health. And that is going to be so encouraging for you. Just another little saying that I have: find the root and you'll resolve the issue. Well, you can resolve the issue. It's up to you if you choose to or not. If you can find the root cause of your depression or anxiety, if you can find the root cause of your inflammatory bowel disease, if you can find the root cause of your diabetes, if you can find the root cause of your weight issues, you can then address that root cause and it resolves it. This next little thought is just a really fun saying, a really encouraging saying that I have. It's a saying from Bethany Hamilton. I don't need easy, I just need possible. And if you ever watch this vlog, I just want to say thank you for sharing your journey, your faith, and your story with the world. Thank you for sharing your heart and your strength with the world. Through watching your documentary Soul Surfer, the movie made about your life, it has encouraged me so much that I don't need easy, I just need possible is something that I live by and remind myself of in the hardest of moments. So thank you. And everyone else, I hope that encourages you too. And also, I don't need easy, I just need possible. Quitting sugar, quitting carbs, going carnivore, walking through mental health issues is not easy, but it is possible. And I want you to be encouraged by that and remember that. Transformation and growth. Both of these take time. Sure, you've probably seen, well, actually you may not have, but some of you may have seen Callie Hogan's transformation, her before and after pictures. Let me just remind you, she has been a carnivore for 10 to 12 years. Then there's Laura Spath. Look at her before and after photos. She's been a carnivore for 2 or 3 years now. Let me just remind you that 30 days on carnivore is not going to produce the results that you see in Laura or Callie's before and after photos. It ain't gonna happen. And I have to remind myself of that too. This is a season, not a sentence, and it too shall pass. Depression and anxiety is a season, and it's up to us to determine how long it's going to last. We have choices. Some of us can go on mental health medication, but that is to help us deal with symptoms, to deal with the effects of depression and anxiety whilst we seek professional help and we address the root cause. Medication for depression and anxiety was never meant to be taken for life. The other choice that we have with depression and anxiety is to help ourselves by eating in a good way. Carnivore is being proven time and time again as a really good way to help mental health issues. So please look into that if you haven't already. More practice equals more confidence equals more willing to do it. So the more that we stick to not eating sugar, not eating carbs, that includes sugar-free, by the way, it's still sugar. Stevia, still sugar. Sorbitol, still sugar. The more we eat carnivore, the more confident we become in that way of eating or that change we've made to the way we eat. And that in turn makes us more willing to continue. Fun. If something is fun, we're more likely to do it again. We're more likely to continue to do it. We're less likely to loathe it. Carnivore can actually be really fun. There's all-you-can-eat restaurants you can go to, meat-based, Brazilian restaurants or Brazilian barbecue restaurant is a really good option for that. There's lots of different ways that you can cook steaks and meats. There's lots of different meats. There's sashimi. There's lots of different ways to prepare your food and to serve your food. You can invite people into the process with you. There are so many different ways that you can make this fun, and if it's fun, you're more willing to do it. The last little saying that I have is stop giving up what you want most for what you want now. Today I saw a before and after photo. I think it was Callie Hogan's. It could have been Laura Spass. It actually could have even been somebody else. And I thought, wow, 10 months is nothing. That's less than a year. It's 1 more month than someone is pregnant for. It's really not that long. And I looked at her body and she'd gone from being morbidly obese to being incredibly trim and fit looking in 10 months. No exercise, just eating carnivore. I thought about myself for a moment and I'm like, wow, I get 4 weeks in and I've barely seen a shift on the scales. And so I'm like, I'll add that sugar pump at Starbucks to my tea. Like, stop it. Stop giving up what you want most for what you want right now. Having that cake pop is a very temporary now moment. Saying no to that cake pop in the now means that in 10 months, you're going to have what you actually want. You don't want that cake pop. You actually want health. Obviously, the time frame is different for everybody. 10 months was just what I saw in the before and after picture today. So what's the point of today's vlog? It's this. If you're somebody who's dealing with being sad, being depressed, being anxious, negative mental health, I really want to encourage you to definitely quit sugar and quit carbs, but go carnivore. It will make such a difference to your life. Do it for 30 days. If you can actually do it for 60 days, I would encourage you to do it for 60 days, but you will notice an improvement in 30 days, especially if you just go straight carnivore rather than just cutting out sugar and carbs. If you go straight carnivore, you are going to notice a difference, really positive difference in your mental health. I just want to thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for encouraging me. Comment below any questions that you have. If you don't want to comment publicly, find me on Instagram, thatcarnivorelife.gram. Follow me first on Instagram and then DM me any question you have. I'm happy to answer, and if I don't know, I will find out. Also, subscribe to my channel, like this video, hit the bell notification so you're notified of my future uploads. Thank you. Thank you again for supporting me and encouraging me in this endeavor. Bye. See you next time.